sometimes we have to refrain from judging people or just criticizing people. Of course, we can say, that was bad. We can say you shouldn't have done that, but looking at things deeper, it's like we don't know everything that they've gone through. We don't know every single experience that they've been or had that led them to deciding that this is the action I want to do. This is the choice I want to have. And I feel as if when we are most angry when we don't understand. But when we understand the most is when we are the most compassionate. Like, I understand you did that. You took your action, and sure, it may have been wrong, but I understand your own view and why you did it. So it's like, I'm not gonna judge you, criticize you. No, like I get where you're coming from, but it's could be still wrong, and just kind of realizing that some people are hurt, or some people are led down a wrong path, or shown that they have to do this in order just to be accepted, or do things in order to make ends meet. And it's like, we don't know the whole story of a person's life. And of course, it's so easy to take an example of someone struggling to provide for whether it be a kid, a brother, a parent, and if you want to take it at the level of committing crimes to get money, it's like, they're committing crimes, but it's like, you understand why they did it, and it's like, in a sense, you kind of sympathize with them. Like, that's tough. And some people may say, well, you don't have to resort to that, there's other ways. And it's like, yeah, but sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. So just thinking about people judging and criticizing, not even on that level, but just people make fun of you or say things if you're trying to go for a goal or trying to separate yourself from other people. Because by saying you don't want what everyone else has, you have to realize what everyone else has. They're living a normal life, nothing wrong with it. But if you want something more, something different, you're gonna have to step off that track and go into a different lane, and go wherever that leads you. And they're gonna look to the side and see that, hey, why is he doing something different? That's out of the norm. That's weird. They may say everything because it's their own lack of vision or view, or their own, they don't know what drives you in a sense. They don't know the reason why you're doing what you're doing, who you're doing it for, and what is the reason why you chose that. So it's like, I guess that's where we get that false criticism. And some people may take it to heart. They'll criticize you for whatever you want to do. They may say you're weird, why are you doing that, like why are you doing that, like that's weird, and I think they only say that because it's like a lack of view and vision. They don't know the reason why you do it. But if they understood, and I'm not saying they will, but I'm just saying if they understood, they may accept it. They may be like, okay. And that's what you get a lot of times. It's like, you see people just being like, okay, you chose to do that, by all means, cool. Like, if it doesn't involve you, it doesn't involve you. And that's how you see a lot of people carry themselves. Like, they're like, you chose that, I'm not doing it, but by all means, push forward. And I guess that's the sort of people we kind of should keep around us, people who are encouraging in a sense, but also keep it real with you. In the sense that it's like, yo, you're doing a bit too much, you're acting wet, like weird, like if, how would I want to word this? Because let's say if you, in a sense, hold you accountable, but of course you want to hold yourself accountable, but if there's ever a chance you slip up, it's like they can just kind of knock some sense back into you, on whether it be, goals or relationships, because sometimes it's like we see that. It's so interesting to see. Goals is obvious. You start procrastinating, you start wasting time. They can be like, yo, aren't you supposed to do that? Or aren't you supposed to do that every day? What happened to you doing this? And it's like, you're right. And now whether you choose to do it or you choose not to, that's on you. But the fact that they're reminding you that's an amazing person that you should keep with you and honor that person. And in relationships, I guess it's like if you're, in a sense, like overstepping your boundaries, or I guess that's the easiest way. Overstepping your boundaries with the other person. It's like you can have someone on the sidelines, a third party, be like, yo, okay, calm down, like chill. Like, you're doing too much. And sometimes we have to take that blow, we have to take that hit, that we are losing ourselves in a sense. We're losing the vision that we had for ourselves. But it also gets me thinking about like arguments, like people fighting and all of that, because when it's like someone gets angry at you, it's like, I feel as if a lot of times it's not even because of necessarily they're angry at you, but it's just a series of events and things that happen, and that was just the tipping point. That was the boiling point, and it just exploded. It just popped, and it's like, okay, and they take it out on you, like, yeah, you're wrong for putting all that on me, but it's like, I understand, I get that you're going through a lot, I get that you're stressed, I understand all of it. And if you both have the maturity to talk it out, then by all means, that's a beautiful thing. But I feel as if a lot of us aren't shown that, so we aren't, we don't know that we can do that. Mainly because our parents didn't know, and their parents didn't know, and their parents' parents didn't know. And it's like this whole cycle of just holding ourselves back, or not thinking before we act, and just doing something irrational. And I truly do hope at a certain point all of us can heal, in a sense. And it reminds me of a quote I heard from I don't know if he was I just remember he was a doctor with trauma and things of that nature, Dr. Gabor Mate or something. I could never truly pronounce his name, but I've heard it so often and I don't know how. But Dr. Gabor Mate, but amazing speaker. And there's a thing that he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but it's like, he was talking about trauma, and he's like, trauma isn't what happened, but what happened inside of you as a result of that. And he was talking about like how we can either scar up, or it's like it's very sensitive. And when it's like something pushes it, when it's sensitive, it's like it happened all over again. It's like you're experiencing that pain all over again. And I feel like that's what some people carry, or even so, it's like the other side, it's a scar, it's a hard tissue with he said it had like no nerves in it, so it's very hard and you couldn't have no feelings. And it's like, you try and hurt it or tap it or something, it's like there's no reaction at all, and it's closed off in that sense, and you aren't able to express, or I guess that's the best way to put it from what I remember, express it. Cause it's like, there can be a lot on our shoulder, and it's like, it may take work, it may take a lot of work and time. And it gets me thinking of like, depression and repression. Like depression, like you put it below, you push it beneath. Depression, as in you have your emotions and you push it beneath you. And you hide it away and store it, and at a certain point it's gonna all pop up because it's been building up. It's truly just been building up. And at a certain point, you explode. And you see that at times where people would just do something that's supposedly out of character, but it's like they've just been holding up a lot just because they aren't the kind of person to express themselves in that manner, or they aren't aware of how to deal with the emotions they have. So, and repress as in like we hold it back. I mean, it's kind of, there's a better way to put it, but I can't quite remember it as of right now. But then to counteract that, it's like express, like show it out. And it takes a certain level of vulnerability. Vulnerability meaning just being open and being hurt, because you may get hurt, it's possible, but in that same sense, it's like you let out a lot more. And it gets me thinking again of like, the strongest is not the ones who hold everything back, but is able to express everything. There's a better way to word it, but having the strength to be able to show and express yourself, and it doesn't have to be like you get angry so you do something crazy or something like that, but it's like you're cool with your feelings, you're able to feel your feelings. You don't have to act on them, because your actions are your actions, your thoughts are your thoughts, and your feelings are your feelings. They're all separate and they all work together. But it's like, being able to understand them, being able to just sit with them. And if something needs to be done, then something needs to be done. But it's just a baseline of understanding that we have feelings and we have emotions. And we have to be in touch with them, because we have feelings for a reason. We're just shown that, and it's like we now we're shown that it's wrong to have certain emotions. And it's like, no, it's like, it was a part of us. It's a part of us growing up. And another thing he talked about, which fascinated me, because he also talks about child development and things of that nature, but he was talking about, how a lot of our there's like some characteristics of ourselves that are adaptive in a sense. We adapted to how things weren't at when we were young. We weren't shown affection, so we learn to hold ourselves back. Or when we're crying as a baby, it's like we give up in a sense, because we can't feel that love, and it'll show later that it's like we can't allow ourselves to be loved or feel loved. And it may express itself when someone isn't showing you when it matters to you, and it's like we may do something crazy, or we may make a rash decision or do something. And he spoke about it so brilliantly, but I can't remember because it was in the background while I was just working, but it was still, I have to go back and watch it. And it was talking about how a lot of our, not a lot, but characteristics of us and how we choose to move are adaptive. And by adaptive, it should have changed. We should only use it for that time frame, but it's stuck with us. It's stuck with us longer than it should have into our adulthood or into our, teenagehood, and we're dealt with whatever we had as a kid or as a baby. We never were able to change it and grow out of it. And it got me thinking of, kids and how do we want to raise them, because he also spoke about, as I say, way too much. But when a baby is crying, they say, like, you leave the baby alone just so it stops crying, because the baby gives up. But when in reality, it's like we should hold it, we should carry it, we should care for it, because that's the only thing they need. They just need love. They just need love. So it's like healthy for the baby, and allowing babies and kids and all that to play, like not restricting them or not necessarily just giving them a phone or a tablet so they can just whatever. It's like letting them experience life. And that's what fascinated me too. But I guess just going back to the whole point of, people say what they say, and you don't necessarily have to take everything to heart. And you don't, sure, it may hurt, it may be a little sting on your ego, but sometimes you can use that to better yourself. That saying, haters motivate me, or something like that. But it's even beyond that. It's like showing you that there's more to improve on. There's more to keep doing and keep growing and keep surpassing the own view and vision you had for yourself. But when it comes to people just judging and criticizing and getting angry, and it's like there's so much to it, because of course I wish a lot of people were able to have the awareness that you don't have to act in that certain manner. You don't have to scream at each other. You don't have to yell at each other. When you could just, whether it's take a 5-minute break, just breathe a little bit, just separate for a moment, let the feelings pass by, and just have a conversation. But I feel as if we aren't taught that. We aren't taught a lot of these things, and we have to go through our own experiences and mature in a sense where we come to understand more. And it also gets me thinking, like, what people say is like they say what they say, they feel what they feel, and you don't truly know the whole picture. You don't know the bigger picture. So it's like, and they don't know you. You don't know them, and they don't know you. So it's like, how are you to judge and criticize them? Or how are they to judge and criticize your view? And it gets me thinking of like a reason why I don't like gossip. It's like a lot of it is ill-intentioned. It's meant to put someone down or make someone less than. And sure, the recipient or the person they're talking about doesn't have to necessarily care. But it's just the fact that you're doing it in a sense where it's like you don't need to. There's so much other things to talk about. And I'm only saying it when it's like things that aren't necessarily important. Because if it's an issue to be fixed or an issue to be talked about, then by all means talk about it. That should be upfront. But it's this kind of talking behind each other's backs and snaking each other, which creates a sort of toxic culture and environment. And looking at society now, looking at how everything is right now, it feels like a toxic environment. People are on extremes, and a lot of people are in the middle. But there's a huge divide and a huge lack of understanding of life. And I'm not saying I know everything. I don't. But it's just looking at it for what it is. It's like there's a lot of hurt, stress, pain, all of this, neglect, all of it. And we lack the skills and understanding to be able to face and confront them. So how do we do it? I guess at first we gotta start with ourselves. Why do we feel angry? Why do we feel sad? Why do I feel this certain emotion? And what will I do about it if action needs to be taken? If I feel angry, what can I do to help me with my anger? I can take boxing classes. I can, play a sport. I can, whatever. And we have to allow ourselves to also just have, I guess, playtime or fun time, be able to express our creativity, because we all have it. We all have it. But we're just kind of shut off with the expectations of, okay, you've hit a certain age, so you can't act like this no more. And we grow accustomed just to a rigid sense of being an adult, which necessarily is like, sure, you know, we have to be responsible, but we also gotta have some fun too, you know. We also gotta be able to just express ourselves and try things out. But again, I feel as if, you know, we a lot of times just judge and criticize and argue because we lack understanding. We don't know the side of the whole story. Because if we were to truly understand, we were truly to know everything, it's like we would understand that it's cool, it's okay, you know. I understand it's so wrong, it could still be wrong, but it's just, so it's like, I guess now we get into a whole idea of what is it, justifiable evil, and it's like we could, but we'd be getting into like another 40 minutes of talking. But I just want to leave it off there, honestly. I just want to leave it off there. I was speaking my mind once again. But love you forever and always. See ya.